Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to my video. We're gonna be talking about um, ECM fuses, the ECM B fuse that keeps on blowing on Chevy GMC trucks with the 5.7 Vortec engine, but it could be any other engine that existed for these trucks from 1997 to 2007. So these trucks have issues with shorts shorts inside the fuel pump itself, but also with the wiring from the ECM fuse to the fuel pump. All right, I've seen shorts. I'm going to give you guys an example of a short for this video that have occurred with these trucks. All right, most of the time, if you guys have the ECM fuse constantly blowing on this truck, like as soon as you replace it, it'll just blow. As soon as there's contact, any kind of electrical contact, it'll blow the fuse. Most of the time, 90% of the time, 90% of the time, it actually has something to do with the fuel pump or the wiring that goes to the fuel pump. All right, a lot of times it's the wiring that's inside the fuel pump. It's the cable the power cable that connects directly to the motor itself in the fuel pump. A lot of times what happens is there's a short inside within those cables, and a lot of times when you pull it out and you check it out, you're gonna see that it's brownish, darkish, burnt right around where the wires meet the plug. Now a lot of times you would have to take the fuel pump out just to inspect that, which is real hassle, obviously. But I've done enough videos on this, but I'm just going to go through this again, where if you guys have issues as far as the ECMB fuse constantly blowing, the big test with this, or this is not an in or of all test with this, but it's a good test to see whether it's the fuel pump that's the issue. Now you could disconnect the power plug to the fuel pump and then put in the fuse. Now if the fuse doesn't blow at that point, there's a good chance that it's the fuel pump that's the issue. All right, these fuses are cheap, so you can do this test with the fuse in, and then connect the plug to the fuel pump. And if the fuse blows immediately, or if the fuse blows after a couple of cranks, then you know that it's the fuel pump. But it could also be the line, the power line that connects from the fuel pump to the ECM fuse. All right, now you're gonna have to check that line from the point where it meets the plug to the ECM fuse. But I'm gonna tell you guys that that the wiring for these trucks during these years wasn't very thought out. So a lot of times, you guys look at this picture right here, this around the wheel well, there is you know, a bunch of cables that's pretty much tied together. All right, and a large portion of these issues with shorts and ECMB, what that causes the ECMB fuse to blow, is pretty much from the location of where this cable is. A multitudes of cable that's tied together inside the wheel well, inside the driver's side wheel well. And what happens is a lot of times this cable will rub against the metal portion of the wheel well, of the frame, and it over time it causes the covering of the wire to separate. It'll make cuts in the wiring so that the wire itself is exposed, and with it being exposed, it's a positive, obviously, because you know, when it hits the ground wiring, the ground being the frame of the car, the entire metal frame of the car is the ground. So once it hits the frame, you know, it causes a spark, but a lot of times that'll just blow the fuse. Most of the time, all the time, it'll just blow the fuse, and you're gonna have constant issues with this. And I'm just giving you one example of this. If you guys are looking for locations of where, you know, the wiring short, the ground short is, you know, because there's so many places to look for as far as a short. All right, the diagnosis on this is pretty vast, considering the ECM you know, is connected to so many different portions of the car itself: the alternator, the starter, the O2 sensor, the mass airflow sensor, every kind of sensor. It just goes on and on and on and on. All right, it's the main computer of the car. It's connected to various sensors, various parts, and it's very difficult, or a little bit more complicated to diagnose than some other parts, because of the amount of things that the ECM fuse is connected to. But particularly with these Chevy GMC vehicles from this era, they didn't think out, you know, the wiring wasn't thought out too much, as far as, you know, how the wires pretty much snaked around the car. And a lot of the times these wires, you know, are pretty much bracketed, but strapped to sometimes to the frame of the car. And a lot of times, as I've stated before, any amount of corrosion or breakage of the lining of the wires, particularly it's the positive line, and if that ever touches any portion of the metal frame, it's gonna give you it's gonna short. And once it shorts, it's gonna blow the fuse, obviously, so that it doesn't that short doesn't damage any other the ECM itself. So hope this has helped you guys out. This is just one example. There's like multiple examples of what could cause the short, the blowing of the fuse. I'm gonna throw out more videos on what to look for as far as that's concerned. But hopefully this has helped you guys out as far as troubleshooting your issue with the PCM fuse. And if you guys have any of your personal experiences with this, please you know, drop a comment in the comment section. Let everybody know what your personal experiences are, as it might be able to help other people out. Please give me a thumbs up, please subscribe, and all that good stuff. All right guys, take care.